Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the McFarlane Spawn, Robot Wars Spawn. This is, takes place in the future, in the year 3047. There's a mechoid army that's threatens to wipe out humanity's last remnants. And humans have found a way to combine necroplasm with this mechanical carapace. I think this is based off Robot Wars Spawn line from way back in the day. Either way, it looks kind of cool. Kind of big and blocky, kind of cartoonish. This is part of the newest Spawn wave. Ordered this at the McFarlane store. It arrived today, so let's take a look at the package. It's in the sort of clear clamshell, 30 years of McFarlane Toys. McFarlane Toys, Spawn. Here he is in the package. It doesn't look like he has any regular accessories, but I see a collector's card and display stand. At the back, here is Spawn from Robot Wars paused up. We have the original release in 2008, so I think this is a re-release of that. And at the bottom, there's his barcode, if that helps. So with no further ado, let's open him up. And I did get the bundle from the McFarlane Toy Store, both Deviant Spawn and Robot War Spawn. Now both these figures have Platinum Chase variants, and they're starting to show up at Walmart. I'm on the hunt for both those. If anyone has a lead on where I can get one, or can help me out, drop me a line in the comments below. It is much appreciated. Alright, now through this figure out of the package, here he is with all the accessories laid out. He doesn't come with any traditional accessories, but he has a display stand, a collector's card, and he has a couple of removable pieces from his back. Not really sure if they're tentacles or arms or little pipes. We'll talk about that when we look at it. Before we take a look at all that, let's talk about and check out the figure. So this is Mecha-Spawn from Spawn Robot Wars. It takes place in the future. The year is 3047, and the mechoid army threatens to wipe out humanity's last remnants. In a last-ditch effort, scientists create a way to combine the human's mind, reasoning, and brilliance with the near-indestructible shell of a necroplasm-infused mechanical carapace. Brave warriors have chosen to give up their own humanity to protect the people's future from the robotic menace known as the mechoids. Basically sounds like it's a guy that made a mechoid suit, combines some necroplasm, and has some hints of Spawn's sort of Hellspawn powers. Now, I believe this is based off of a Spawn Robot War figure released in 2008, and maybe you guys can educate me or correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think it's a straight re-release. I think it's sort of an updated version with a little bit more articulation, even though it doesn't have very much. Please drop me in the comments below if you follow the line back then, because I sure didn't. Is this a straight re-release, or is this an updated version of the Mech Spawn? That being said, let's take a closer look. So it's a big giant robot figure in sort of Spawn colors. And this one has much more red than black. The Platinum Chase variant looks a little bit more the traditional Spawn colors, and frankly thinks it looks a little bit better. So you can see his head here, big red eyes. I don't know if you can breathe through those little tubes. The head barely moves at all, but it is a separate piece, which is kind of weird. Big, bulky, junky figure. There's a little bit more to it than that, but not much. On the inside of his hand, he has what looks like sort of a cannon, kind of like Iron Man. Articulation is on the weak side of things. It barely exists at all. I mean, like, what the heck? And it has this weird feel to it. It's like, I don't know, like slick, like not slimy, but not oily exactly. It's hard to explain. It doesn't really feel good. And it doesn't really attract like a bunch of hair or anything, but it just feels slick, and I don't like that whatsoever. Shoulder pads move with the arms. He's got these removable sort of pieces from the back. Minimal articulation. He has almost like a Spawn skull / Transformers type logo. I don't know. I mean, it's not even really that cool. It's kind of on the dumb side of things, and I feel like it should be a lot larger if it's supposed to scale in the 7-inch Spawn line and be a guy in a giant mech suit, which is pretty much what this is, so I guess you can shove it with other action figure lines. I don't know. Not very impressed. It doesn't look that spectacular, and it's very much on the basic side of things. And a closer look at his face, helmet, or head sculpt, which it's kind of hard to tell what's going on. He's got these giant red eyes, which are totally on the sides, not really looking forward. Some black sort of breathing tubes, this white thing going down the back. It just has a kind of weird look to it. More weird than cool. And then, here's the figure, broken down as far as he can go, with all of his removable parts detached. Now let's check out his accessories. Starting off with the boring stuff. We have his display stand, two McFarlane display stand. It says Spawn at the bottom. It's very thin and basic. Now you definitely don't need a display stand. This figure has some giant feet, which are hollow and look really dumb and are really easy to stand this guy up. He even has little peg holes on his feet for the stand that you absolutely don't need. In addition to that, we have his collector's card. As you can see, I think it actually looks much cooler on the card than the figure, even though I think this is an image of the actual figure. I don't know. Mine doesn't seem to have the little red detail on the leg like this one does. 30th anniversary of McFarlane Toys. On the back side, there is a description. If you want to read that, pause now. And at the top, Spawn, mecha-spawn. Then he has these weird things that come off his back. Not 100% sure what they are. To me, they look like sort of tentacles. Looks like what Dr. Octopus uses from Spider-Man, and he can kind of grab stuff. Now, they are removable, and it kind of makes you wonder, why would they make them removable, not just make them part of the figure? I wonder if maybe at one point they were planning to make a different set, interchangeable ones. If they had a better set that you could pop in there with large tentacles on a bendy wire, it would make the figure a lot less garbage than it is right now. So we got this giant gaping hole in his back. Fill it in with these things and it looks like this. Almost like some little tubes or pipes going on the back, but I think it's supposed to be tentacles that you can grab people with. Like I said, an alternate pair would be really cool. Instead, no, we'll just settle with this. Now that they've taken a pretty good look at the figure and his accessories, let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his head or helmet, standing right at 6 inches tall, which can translate to a little over 15 centimeters. And if you go to the top, that white thing coming out of his helmet, about 6.7 inches tall. So he seems quite undersized to be in this big, giant mech suit for a 7-inch scale figure. And now for his articulation, which is probably the most disappointing thing about this figure. I mean, he doesn't look that good, but his articulation is even worse. So, these things don't move at all, even though they are removable. His head is a separate piece, and you can kind of budge it the slightest bit, but it really has no articulation whatsoever. Arms, then go up, then go down. There is a ball joint, then go forward and back, but this giant shoulder pad makes the articulation almost totally pointless and useless. Even if you go like further up, it just doesn't move much at all. Tiny bit of rotation even there. Now he has sort of a bicep cut type thing here. And they have this place where they could have hidden an elbow joint so easily, but it has one solid piece. I mean, what the hell? I kept thinking, no, it has to move. It has to. Look. No, it does not. And then his wrist here can sort of rotate at the bottom. I do like his sort of little cannon thing on the palm of his hands. Definitely Iron Man-esque. Sort of repulsor. I just cannot believe they didn't give us elbow articulation. I've seen them put it into joints like this. It's just ridiculous. Ball joint his torso, rotate around, forward and back, more than I would expect. The legs, forward, back, and that's really about it. I also hate the fact those feet are hollow. It just looks so dumb. So, a disappointing figure with even more disappointing articulation. Here's mecha-spawn during the Robot Wars. He's in his base or lair. Looks like something out of Transformers. Now let's check him out. Next to some other action figures. Starting off with some other Spawn figures. Here's the mecha-spawn next to the Deviant Spawn from Rat City. These guys are both armored versions of Spawn. They're both in the same wave. I don't think either one is actually Al Simmons. They're both different characters in a sort of armored Spawn suit with some Spawn powers. And they're both sort of for the future. Now look at the two figures. They don't even look like they're from the same line. They're a completely different style and scale, but both advertised under the current Spawn line, Spawn banner, and even in the same wave. A little bit misleading because honestly, I'd say they're not part of the same line. I'd say this guy is part of the current 7-inch spawn line, and this guy is some old sort of throwback retro, I guess 6-inch scale spawn. And here he is, next to, I think it was Commando Spawn from their 30th anniversary line. He's done it a very similar style and scale as mecha-spawn, which makes me think maybe these are just re-releases from 2008, but unfortunately I'm not certain. I would appreciate if someone could clarify for me. Here are all the McFarlane Spawn figures that are released under the 30th anniversary McFarlane Toys banner. Now, like I said, please correct me if I'm wrong, but here's what I think's going on. Brand new figure, re-release, 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 and re-release, but I could be totally wrong. Please educate me in the comments below. Here's mecha-spawn, next to the most recent Spawn wave. These are a couple of versions of Spawn from Call of Duty. Here he is, next to another larger armored Spawn figure. This is the manga Spawn, and it's a deluxe mega figure. This is about the size I would expect a mecha Spawn like this to be. Now let's check him out, next to some of my other favorite Spawn figures. Here he is, next to the Mortal Kombat 11 first version of Spawn, and the Shadow of Spawn. These are great Spawn figures and sort of kickstarted the modern 7-inch Spawn line. And here he is, next to the DC Multiverse Batman vs. Spawn 2-pack Spawn, and then the Throne Spawn. Both pretty nice Spawn figures. Here he is, next to the first Kickstarter Spawn, which is a very nice, good-looking Spawn figure, but has some articulation flaws. Then, next to the newest Spawn Kickstarter figure, Medieval Spawn. And finally, next to the High School Proto Spawn and Todd McFarlane 2-pack. Now let's check him out, next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how he fits in both scale and style-wise, in case you'll know which lines you can mix him with. And scale and style-wise, he's on a whole nother level from most McFarlane figures. Here he is, next to some other McFarlane figures. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys. I would say all 7-inch scale, but I don't think this guy is a 7-inch scale figure. And now, with some Jack-specific wrestling figures, and some Diamond Select toys, here's a Spawn, next to an Apple, and here he is, with some DC Direct and NECA figures, then with both some Mattel and Jazzwares wrestling figures, and now, with some Mezco and Mattel DC figures, next, with some Mafex and Hasbro Marvel Legends, and finally, with some Jazzwares Fortnite figures, and some SH Figure Arts action figures. So overall, this is a pretty crappy Spawn figure. It has this weird animated, sort of stylized look to it. It's far too small, and it's grossly underarticulated. I don't like the way it looks. I think it looks hideous. I think it looks like shit. I don't like the way it feels. It's all slick and not oily, but I don't even know how to say it. And the articulation is even worse than both those things. In addition to that, he has no accessories whatsoever. I just can't believe they couldn't even give that elbow a little hinge. If I were to rate this figure, I would give him an embarrassing 4 out of 10. This is a pretty bad action figure. Yet, I'm still on the hunt for the Chase variant. So this is D Hunter. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.